much. Big weekend here this weekend, but we're here to talk about the next big weekend in Las Vegas. UFC 175. Obviously, you know everybody up here. Before we get going, I want to thank Richard Sturm and his staff here at the MGM for all they do for us. We appreciate you very much. He couldn't be here today, but he's usually here for these things. Thank you, Richard. We are very excited about International Fight Week. This is going to be, every year, the thing gets bigger, it gets better, and this one's going to be the biggest, baddest one we've ever had. From all the events that are going on, the fighters that are coming in, and obviously the fight that weekend is stacked with a great card and great fighters. Who has the first question? Raise your hand, they'll bring you the mic. We'll get to the fans later. Let us get the media, then we'll get to you guys. You guys just relax.
First question is for Chris. Chris, could you tell us how you hurt your knee and how you are right now?
Yeah, long story short, you know, both my meniscuses on both my knees would click into my joint every once in a while. It started becoming an issue, and I just had to get it taken care of. And so I got them scoped out, and knees never felt better.
After the scope, how long before you were able to get back to activity?
I was pretty. I can't tell you exactly. Maybe like a day or two. I was pretty much right back.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, not to like sparring or anything like that, but you know, physical therapy and maybe the arm bike and stuff like that.
Question for Vanderlei. Right in front of you, Vanderlei. If you can comment on sort of the fight you had with Chael, and it seemed like, you know, fighters are paid to fight in the cage and not fight outside, and it seemed like, you know, that was out of character for you. Can you explain your role in that and what happened?
Yeah, this is a massive, you know, and we're gonna finish this on July 5th, and we're gonna beat him so bad.
Can you tell us what led you that day to start the fight in the gym?
No, that day is like everybody's a man, no, and I am a man too. I don't like what he doing with me, what his position with me in the show, no, and he touched me, and after you touch, you broke the rules.
And then, can I ask a question to Rhonda, please? Rhonda,
and you know what? Let me just jump in before we move on, because I just want to say this for the people that don't know what happened and the people that don't. They got into a physical altercation on the Ultimate Fighter Brazil. I don't fault either one of these guys. These guys don't like each other. You know, that's what makes fun TV, when people don't like each other. It was our production. The people who are running the production in Brazil, you don't ever let it escalate to a point where the guys put their hands on each other, and that happened to Brazil. They did that, and it's just as bad as it can get. So we take responsibility for that one, not them. We knew they didn't like each other going in, and they're professionals, that they fight for a living, but they hate each other. We knew that going in, and it wasn't stopped. That's on us.
Thank you, Dana. And Rhonda, I want to ask you about your trip to Cannes and how that came about. And it seemed like it's a tough time for you with training camp around. Can you explain a little bit about how you got to go to Cannes and what that experience was like for you?
I mean, it was, my camp officially starts tomorrow, actually. The 24th is 6 weeks out. And there was just a lot of fortuitous coincidences that all fell in a row that I wouldn't even be able to go to Cannes. It was kind of a last-minute thing. I wasn't going to go at all. And, you know, it was really cool and interesting experience, but I'm just kind of not really focusing on the movie stuff or talking about it at all until July. I have one day of reshoots Entourage to do on June 3rd, and that's the only time I'm going to really think about movies at all.
Hello, my first question is for Chael. I was curious how it feels to have the role reversal happening since that fight happened on The Ultimate Fighter. It seems now that the Brazilian fans are pulling for you. How does it feel to be the good guy?
I don't like it. The Brazilians were my accomplices, okay? I wanted to fight Anderson Silva, and by the time that media tour was done, they wanted the same thing. And I think eventually they got to that conclusion. But what I would really like for you to understand is that on July 5th and on July 6th, the biggest UFC of the year, on the biggest fight weekend of all time, complete with Expo, will be headlined by yours truly. And I would like to thank Chris and Rhonda for providing an encore to the main event.
Rhonda, what do you have to say to that?
Well, I think everybody in Vegas knows that the encore is better than the win.
That's actually very good. That's very good work by you.
And for you, Chael, at what point did this rivalry with Vanderlei really start for you? What was the moment that set it off?
Man, it started out of jealousy. I would sit at home scratching and clawing to make it. You know, I'm fighting at the dog park. I'm fighting anywhere I can get a chance, and I'm watching this knucklehead coming out of Japan wearing this belt, and I'm going, I'll kick that guy's ass. That guy never would have been champion if I would have been in Pride, and I couldn't get my opportunity. You know, they say that that you should always study your opponent. You should know what he's thinking. I know what he's thinking. I know what he's thinking right now. He's sitting there asking himself, is there a number higher than 11? How'd you like that one, Rhonda? 11.
It's 12.
My next question is for Chris, the champ here. How does it feel for you to finally have put Anderson Silva in your rearview mirror and to move on to a new challenge? Does that give you a new spark in your mentality going into this fight?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I felt in the second fight I had a lot of proof, you know, to get the first fight off my back. And even the second fight, you know, it definitely didn't end the way I wanted. But after being in there twice with him, and I feel like I dominated both fights pretty good, that I just knew I'm the better fighter. So I'm able to put that behind me and move on in the middleweight division. And I'm excited to fight Lyoto Machida. He's a tricky guy. I'm going to have to figure him out.
And for Lyoto, for you, what would it do for your legacy to finally achieve both a middleweight and have the light heavyweight title in the UFC?
O que significa para o teu legado você ter tido já o cinturão do meio pesado e agora o do peso médio?
Na verdade, eu não estou pensando muito nesse aspecto. Eu acho que o meu foco é totalmente na luta e eu não estou pensando no que vai acontecer depois, se eu vou ter mais um cinturão ou não. Eu quero focar realmente no meu oponente.
I'm really not thinking about that. I'm focusing on the fight right now. I'm not thinking about the belt. What I'm focused on is my opponent.
Would it mean more to you to avenge Anderson's losses to Chris?
E tem significado a mais você dar a revirada das derrotas do Anderson?
Não, de forma alguma. Acho que cada um tem a sua carreira, cada um tem o seu meio de mostrar o seu trabalho. O Anderson teve a oportunidade dele e eu estou tendo a minha oportunidade. Acho que não existe nenhum sentimento de revanchismo aqui.
In no way. I mean, everyone's got their own career, and this is my chance at the belt, so there's no sense of revenge.
Hey guys, Ron Kruk with Inside MMA. A couple questions for BJ Penn. BJ, you've accomplished so much in your career. Right here, buddy, in front of you. There you go. But you're doing something that you never have in your 14-plus years, and that's moved to 145. Can you talk about why you decided to come back and why the move to 145?
One day, me and Dana were talking, and you know, I wanted to come back and get try another fight with Frankie Edgar again. And I was talking to Dana. I was trying to see what fights there were out there. Dana said, "Why you want to come back?" I said, "I want to take another shot at Frankie, so I'll fight a couple of fights and get to him." And Dana said, "You know, there might be an opening now, but it's at a lower weight. So you make that decision and give me a call back." And before I hung up the phone, I knew the answer was going to be yes. So I'm just really excited how this all turned out.
How are you feeling as you start the process? I know you still have time, but getting down to 145.
I feel good. I feel skinny. I feel like Bruce Lee.
BJ, win or lose, will you have another fight in the UFC?
You know, I've had to answer that question a lot of times in my life, but right now we're just one fight at a time. One fight at a time and take it from there.
With that said, just one follow-up on that. Do you have a way that, you know, you retired and then you came back, do you have an ideal way that you would like to walk away from the sport? And how do you want the fans here to remember you?
I want everybody to know that, you know, I always came out here and I always you know, gave it the best shot I had, whether it went my way or not that night. And, you know, fighting's my whole life, and, you know, the UFC is my whole life, Dana, everything. And just remember me, I was here. Thanks for everything, Dana.
Pleasure, brother. Thank you.
Awesome answer. Thank you. One quick follow-up to Ronda Rousey. Ronda, yesterday, Dana White said that he believes you could take down Floyd Mayweather in a street fight.
All right, wait a minute. Let's clarify this whole thing, okay? I got all the boxing guys going crazy on me. So this is how this went down. Joe Rogan was on ESPN. They asked Joe Rogan, what do you think would happen if Ronda Rousey fought Floyd Mayweather? And Joe Rogan said, depends on where the fight was. If the fight was in the street or the fight was in the cage, Ronda wins the fight, right? So they asked me the same question. And I said, obviously, if she boxed Floyd, Floyd would tear her up in a boxing match. In a street fight or in an MMA fight, not only would she beat him, she would hurt him badly, okay? That's what I said. Now, Gareth Davies and a lot of other uneducated boxing guys don't understand about judo and grappling. And I was that guy once. I came from boxing, and I used to laugh at this. I used to laugh at this shit, okay? I'm not laughing anymore. Get hit with your first leg kick you've ever been hit with. Ronda will kick your feet out from under you and come down. She walks at what, 160? Okay, what, 155, 140? I don't know. What do you walk at?
148 this morning, Dana. Jeez.
All right, well, she walks at 148, okay? If any of you, and I'm not dissing Floyd Mayweather. This is reality, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Floyd Mayweather is this tall. He weighs 135 pounds. She will hurt him badly.
What do you think,
Go
Ronda?
ahead, Ronda.
Any interest?
It's never going to happen. That fight's, are you kidding me?
Can she answer?
No. Yes, I'm kidding. Go ahead, Ronda.
Why can't you guys, like, bait me into saying something nice? Like, seriously. You would never report me saying something like, I think that Floyd Mayweather is the best boxer that's, like, ever lived, like, actual technical boxer, because no one's going to buy anything about me saying, hey, I like this other person. They're really cool. But, you know, yeah, of course, Floyd would box the hell out of me if we were in a boxing match. But I think that boxing is a limited form of fighting, and we're in a much less limited form of fighting. And so I've trained my whole life to prepare for things that, you know, he hasn't been prepared for. I mean, when he was fighting Maidana, he got kneed in the head and taken down. I mean, it's just not something that he's been trained to look out for.
Okay, I'll finish with a positive. How was the experience with the Expendables 3? You told me that you were extremely excited to meet Sly Stallone and work with him. Talk about the experience.
I just said a little bit ago, my only focus is beating Alexis Davis on July 5th. And all of July, I will be doing the song and dance to promote Expendables 3. But right now, the only thing I care about is beating Alexis. My whole fighting career and my whole Hollywood career depends on it.
Richard Hunter, CBS Radio. Question for Chris Weidman. Chris, Lyoto Machida was not your original opponent for this fight. When you got the call and you found out that Vitor Belfort was in, what were your first thoughts in your own mind stylistically in terms of the difference of the type of fight you would be preparing for?
It didn't really matter. I knew Machida was at 185, and I knew at some point we'd be fighting. So it's going to be, you know, they're completely two different guys, but it doesn't really change, you know, my mindset at all.
Question for Ronda Rousey. Ronda, you told me after your fight with Sarah McMahon that you and your coach Edmund had specifically talked about and worked on committing to a body shot, which of course is how you finished that fight. First time anybody ever seen you finish a fight without an armbar. Going into your fight with Alexis, do you see a similar approach in camp, that there might be something between you and Edmund, a new wrinkle in the game that you'd like to focus on?
Well, mostly I'm focused on what I expect Alexis to do. The most intelligent thing I think would be for her to do is to work on trying to elbow me whenever I try to come in for a clinch, and push kicks to try and keep me away, and knees in middle distance. And so those, I'm kind of more focusing on what she would focus on and working around that, and not trying to limit myself by one particular kind of finish.
And a question for Alexis Davis. Alexis, after the Ronda Rousey-Sarah McMahon fight, you were on the dais as well, and you brought up the fact that there was a lot of fan support, you know, on the internet for you to get a title shot. Does getting this kind of validate that grassroots support for you, that call from the fans was heard and you've got that title shot?
Well, you know, it's obviously it's great, you know, to have the amount of support that I've had, but, you know, you got lovers, you got hater, it doesn't matter where you are, as long as you're in the public eye. You know, I have people that think, you know, they're waiting for, you know, Gina Carano to step up again, you know, but I'm here. You know, I'm ready for this fight. I feel great. I'm just privileged to have this opportunity, and, you know, whether the fans, you know, are behind me or not, you know, Ron and I are going to have an incredible fight. You know, either way, something's going to happen that, you know, you're going to be talking about for weeks and ends.
And finally, question for Dana White. Dana, it's well documented that at one time you believe women would never fight in the UFC. Obviously, now years into this, time and time again, we're looking at it as some of the biggest fights on the fight cards. When you look at your time as president of the UFC, can you think of anything that, in hindsight, you have had a bigger, a more different perspective on than you have women's MMA, the way it's turned out in the UFC?
No, that's a good question. No, I haven't. Obviously, I didn't. I was tainted by a fight that I had seen years ago that was a terrible mismatch with women, and after that fight, my mind was set there was something I wouldn't do. And then obviously, you know, the sport has grown so fast, and there's so many people training in mixed martial arts now that, you know, you couldn't have ever imagined that the women would become as good as they have or become as big of a draw as they have. It's just a testament how big the sport is and how fast it's growing. But yeah, it's definitely, yeah, it changed my mind 100%. And when you look at what we're doing here with women in combat sports, it's never been done in the history of the world. The gates, the money, everything, it's phenomenal.
Question for Vanderlei over here. I noticed when Chael was speaking and he was taking some shots at you, you kind of belted out a fake laugh. Having to hear a lot of this, and I know you responded with your own videos, but what do you think when he, you know, insults you and takes shots at you? Is this bottling up inside of you? How do you react to it? How do you digest it?
Com tudo que o Chael tem falado, você já foi na mídia, você já...
You know, the quote is said a little bit out of context, but...
From Ariel? Come on. Come on.
How is it said out of context?
Just at the point, I was laughing at the fact of how well I am at talking crap. You know, obviously not very well at it. And I said, you know...
Acho que isso não me afeta assim de forma alguma, né? Como eu falei ainda há pouco, né? Cada um tem a sua maneira de lutar, cada um teve as suas chances já. Então, sabe, lógico que eu sou próximo assim do antes, a gente tem o mesmo empresário, a gente já treinou junto no passado, mas isso não quer dizer nada para mim.
Like I said, this isn't personal to me at all. I mean, to each their own career and the way of fighting. And of course, I'm close to Anderson. We have the same management, but it's a different fight.
Gareth?
Thank you, Ariel. Thank you, Ariel. A question for Alexis and Chris Weidman. Gareth Davis, uneducated boxing writer that's been covering the UFC for 8 years. No, I'll come to that in a minute. Chris and Alexis. Alexis, you went with the UFC to New York, to Albany recently, to help them lobby to get mixed martial arts into New York State. How interesting was it? And can you give us a little insight into that? And then, Chris, could you explain perhaps how frustrating it may be for you as a UFC champion who's from that area not to be able to fight in places like Madison Square Garden?
You know, it was a great experience. You know, you wouldn't believe, you know, and I only seen a part of it, the amount of steps that they have to go through in order to get this to come through, in order to get MMA into New York, and just the amount of dedication.
Okay. Excuse me. Thank you. Chris, thank you very much. Chael, we're talking about men and women fighting here. Now, a little birdie told me that you and Ronda had a fight in Los Angeles one night. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about it.
So Ronda and I go to dinner, and I'm asking her a question about a foot sweep, a judo foot sweep. So in her infinite wisdom, she takes me into an empty room and begins to foot sweep me, which looks like a man and a woman are now in a fight. So the guys come out of the kitchen to break this up, to protect her, and I'm trying to stop him, and I tell him, I go, she's the world champion, and she's got an Olympic medal. If you guys are here to bail somebody out, I'm the one that's stumbling around the ballroom here, but yes, that's a true story. And I could have taken her, Gareth. I just had to get my footing.
According to Dana, she'd probably have beaten you up as well, you know?
Listen, uneducated boxing guy, this is what I said. When she goes against men who are mixed martial artists, it's a different, then it's a different situation. But regular, normal guys walking the street, guys with one discipline, she hurts them badly. Me, you, every other dude in here, wrap your brains around it, deal with it, it would happen.
I hear you, I've dealt with it, and you're right.
Thank you.
But serious point now, should we ever be condoning men and women fighting?
Well, that's not what we're doing, Gareth.
Should we ever be condoning that?
Don't ask her. She's going to give the wrong answer on this one.
He's the boss, then I'm not going to answer it. But no, I think that with professional fighting, that it'd be a terrible idea.
Or at home or anywhere else, it would be a bad idea.
Well, I mean, like, you know, in general,
it's a bad idea everywhere.
Self-defense situations arise at times, but...
Expendable 3 coming out next summer in theaters near you.
Exactly. But I think that, you know, a fight can go any way, and if you turn on the TV and you see a fight and a guy beating up on a girl, then you can kiss any hopes of getting MMA legal in New York goodbye. You know, so no, I think that men and women fighting each other professionally is a terrible idea.
But the interesting thing is, Gareth, in the history of the world as I know it, there's never been a scenario where you would actually say this woman could beat men, and now there is one. It's never happened. I mean, there's never. That's why guys have such a hard time dealing with it and thinking about it. But you have to understand, she won an Olympic medal in judo. And I'm not condoning anything, but she has fought men. She has done it, and she's a game changer.
Charges were dismissed.
That's why women are here now. She's a game changer. Period. Let's not talk about men and women fighting anymore. Next question.
Quick one for BJ, and I got a quote too. I hope I'm not causing any trouble. This is a quote from you, BJ. There's just something about BJ Penn that gets people amped up. You don't know what's going to happen, but something's going to happen, though. He might disappoint you. He might make you happy. He might make you cry. He might make you jump out of your chair, but he'll do something to you. My question is that guy still there?
That guy's still here. He's sitting right here. He's right here, everybody.
That is the truest quote ever spoken.
One quick question for Chris Weidman. Last week, Vitor Belfort gave an interview in Brazil, and he was like, Chris Weidman, come to Brazil to fight me, brother. Just want to like your thoughts on that.
Vitor, come to Las Vegas and fight me. But now, all kidding aside, fighting Leo Machida, forget Vitor. You know, Vitor could wait on the sidelines and do whatever he has to do.
Queria perguntar uma para o Vanderlei também, em português. Muita gente está dizendo que o Sonnen acabou ganhando os fãs brasileiros nesse The Ultimate Fighter Brasil. Queria saber se você acha que teve pouco disso.
Hold on, Vanderlei. Hold on. Go ahead.
The question was, a lot of people have been saying that Chael's won over a lot of the Brazilian fans after the Ultimate Fighter in Brazil, and what Vanderlei thinks about that.
Só perguntar para os brasileiros que estão aqui, quem vai torcer para ele aqui? Isso aí é uma inverdade. Na verdade, o público está comigo. Vocês vão ver a arena lotada aqui. No dia 5 de julho, vai estar todo mundo torcendo para mim e eu vou dar vitória para todos nós.
That's not true. I think the crowd's going to be behind me, and on July 5th, I'm going to take the win home.
Hi, my first question is to BJ. BJ, you were in Brazil and you said that you're going to, do your training camp over there with Aldo and Barão and Nova União team. Are you going to Brazil?
Yeah, I'm. We have our tickets. Everything we ready. We set to go. I am getting a little bit of flack from my family at this point now, from my wife and my...
Isso para mim uma motivação para trazer esse cinturão para o Brasil.
There's always pressure, but I changed that pressure into motivation, and this motivation is to bring that belt to Brazil.
Hello, Vampiro from El Octagono, Hispanic media. Ronda, I know you are a very professional fighter and you would fight anyone, but have you really think about Gina Carano, fighting Gina Carano?
I mean, Gina is the person that made me aware that women's MMA even existed. So she was the first person I ever thought of fighting. But right now, my only focus is on Alexis. If I don't beat Alexis, then I'll have no chance of ever fighting Gina. So I almost feel like I have to beat Alexis to be able to keep my belt. I have to beat Alexis to be able to keep my career, and I have to beat Alexis in order to maybe one day having that opportunity to fight Gina. But it all depends on me beating Alexis first.
Thanks. Dana, what about Anderson Silva? Is he's going to be enough good to get back next year? We know he wants to come back. He's a fighter. He's a natural born fighter.
Right.
But what do you think about him, about his injury?
Yeah, his recovery has been unbelievable. I mean, I told everybody, Lorenzo and I went down there and saw him a couple months after the surgery, and I couldn't believe what I saw when I went there. I was blown away. I just think we have a hard time, when that bone breaks, it freaks everybody out. But it's a broken bone, and it heals just like all other broken bones do. It usually takes 6 to 8 weeks for a broken bone to heal, and then you got to go through some kind of I think a lot of it is going to be psychological. Throwing that first leg kick again, and leg to leg.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's kicking the bag and stuff, but yeah, as far as I know, everything with Anderson Silva, he's scheduled to come back the end of this year, beginning of next year.
Great. And the last one for Chael. TUF Latin America is coming back. Do you like Mexicans?
Yeah, man, I love it. I'm a big boxing fan, and, man, they got a big history. I grew up as a wrestler, and they don't have a tremendous history of wrestling, so I think it'll kind of be like the English fighters. Well, they'll have to learn that and implement it, but, man, you can't question their toughness. Cool. Hey, Chael Sonnen here with UFC Tonight. Ronda, Alexis stating that you are. Is she correct?
I am an Olympian and an American, and I will have to go for my countryman right here.
Does anybody else have a question that should actually be asking questions?
Yes.
I'll take one more media question, then we're going to get to the fans. We've got to wrap this thing up in about 5 minutes.
Assuming Chael's done here. This one's for BJ Penn. BJ, obviously the Frankie Edgar rivalry has a personal significance to you, and that's the reason you came back. Would you have come back without that specific fight? Would you have fought again, or was it that fight that brought you back?
If Dana told me to come to 145 and fight any of these other people, there's no way I would have done it. No way.
But even if it was a 155 fight or a 170 fight, was it Frankie Edgar and Frankie Edgar only?
Yeah, that's kind of how it starts, and then we'll see where this whole thing goes.
And why is that so important to you?
Let me think. Why is Frankie Edgar important to BJ Penn?
You've lost other fights.
I
don't know if you want to win every fight back, but
I had a good run going at 155. Frankie came in, and one thing about Frankie, I say he's one of the best ever in the UFC, and I believe that's half the battle, just knowing what you're going up against. Getting the opportunity to coach against him, I realize that he's one of the most competitive people. He's not one of those, I'm angry, I'm mad all the time, I want to kick everybody's butt. He's just a really competitive person, and that I really believe that's going to help me coming into this. I've got a very formidable opponent standing on the other side of the ring.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's get some fan questions. Go ahead, right here.
It's,
don't talk about tickets or anything else. Ask questions.
All right, this question's for Chael Sonnen. I just have a question. What's your opinion on Vanderlei's wrestling and takedown defense?
He's going to need to sharpen that up a little bit. He better hope he can cage fight better than he can street fight. I can tell you, my pet idiot has been in the UFC since 1999, and he's never used an interpreter until today. He said he's going to defeat me and take a victory home. I wish that somebody would ask him if he will admit that his home is 4 miles from here.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. Good luck.
Thank you.
Just like Chris Weidman on UFC 168, I have a statement. First and foremost, I want everyone to join me. My name is Master Sergeant Ortiz, soon to be retired from the 173rd Sky Soldiers. I want to thank the UFC for supporting the troops in the last 12 years of war.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I've never asked this country for anything. I'm proud of what I've done. I'm going to retire in about 6 months, and all I ask is for the UFC 173rd dedicated to the 173rd Sky Soldiers.
Very interesting. Congratulations. Hi.
So Dana, I've been checking every app every day just to hear if you've come close to finishing the negotiation with Gina Carano. I can't lie. Every single day I check.
I still owe Gina a phone call. Gina called me. I haven't called her back yet. Kind of busy this week.
Okay.
But yeah, I owe her a phone call.
Okay. I'll be looking every day.
All right.
All right.
Have a good weekend.
Yes.
Dana, I don't know if you remember me, but I was that lunatic fan back at UFC 149, the only man to drink Epicac to get out of work to see a fight.
I do. There's a lot of lunatic fans, but I remember you.
You know me. I told you there's nobody in the history of UFC.
I remember.
Okay, I've been telling everybody that me and your buddies just like
we are. I remember.
Sweet. All right. You've literally put everybody I love on this stage. I'm going to make this real fast. Rhonda, hi. You look,
everybody I love, Rhonda, hi.
You look really beautiful today, by the way. I just want to let you know. Actually, if they don't...
There you go.
But I'm going to make this real fast. Okay, BJ, I saw you at the MGM Grand a couple of days ago. I just want to thank you for the opportunity to meet you. Love you, respect you. Best lightweight to ever fucking live. Sorry, jeez. Vanderlei, I've met you before. You're awesome, one of the best. Alexis, best of luck against Ronda, but I have to root for her because just, you know. Lyoto, been rooting for you forever. Best of luck. I want to see you hold that title. Weidman, I do love you. I have to thank you because I bet everyone in the world, they're like, nobody's going to beat Anderson. I'm like, UFC 163, you watch this man's going to take the title. 3rd round TKO. Or 62, sorry. I'm just totally running right now. Ronda, obviously, you know, I care. But this is the man this guy I got to talk to right here because I got something to say to him. You are the man of the hour who's too sweet to be sour, okay? The women's pet and the men's regret. The reflection of perfection, the man who got my attention, okay? The one with the greatest arms, the one with the best charms, and the one who's gonna do a lot of harm on Saturday night. But right now, it ain't about me. It's about everyone standing here right now. How do they feel standing this close to greatness? Are they not mesmerized? Are they not getting chills up and down their skinny little spines? For the first time ever, witnessing Chael's Sonnen in Chael's building with Chael's people, okay? This man eats T-bone steaks. He lives barbell plates. He is sweeter than a German chocolate cake. And all I gotta say is, when you're the greatest fighter in the world, they got the name for you. They don't call you a great fighter.
What do they call you?
They call you Chael Sonnen.
You're damn right.
Beat him if you can.
You're damn right they do. Outstanding.
It's gonna be one more in the highlight reel, one more in the win column, and one more for the bad guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, my brother, give him a hand.
Hey,
I flew him all the way in.
Read this book. I don't know if anyone's read this book. This is a masterpiece. This belongs in museums. And,
hey, listen, I love you. We got like 2 minutes here, all right?
2 seconds.
You are Chael Sonnen Jr. Good to see you.
Hey, I got a question for Dana, and it actually doesn't have to do with tickets. My father flew here from India and brought me here for my freaking 21st birthday. Can't be a better weekend than this. And all I want for my 21st birthday is a picture with you.
Me?
You.
Done.
Done.
That's easy.
All right, I'll see you after.
Yeah.
And Chael, where'd you learn to perfect those soccer skills you were able to show Vanderlei up with on TUF?
I appreciate you watching. I was on fire. You must have a prescription to Fight Pass, which all of you should get too, fightpass.com. Thanks for bringing that up, pal.
Come on down to the front. Wait right there. Next question.
So my question's for Chael. Chael, what exactly are you going to do to Cyborg? I mean, Vanderlei at UFC 175.
I can tell you, I'm going to give him a beating. And
I like it.
The tougher he talks, the more he makes me think he's not going to show up. Every time he's humble, I think he gets closer to signing the contract. But, you know, generally he grows confidence when he's got numbers on his side. I really don't know, man. But I can tell you, I will be there on July 5th. I will be headlining the show with my encore presentation coming after that. And the next day, it's going to be one of the greatest fighters of all time in Frankie Edgar taking on the two-time world champion in BJ Penn. 2 shows, 1 weekend.
Chael, we love you, man.
Thank you, brother. You have very good taste.
Ronda. All right, so there's a collection of guys back there. We're all wanting to know, what's your update on this history? Are you dating? Are you still available?
I don't want people to get in the habit of thinking my business is their business, but yeah, I'm not on Tinder right now. Yeah, I'm not surfing Tinder, if you know what I mean.
She has a boyfriend. Next question.
Minha pergunta é para o Lyoto Machida. Primeiro dizer que eu vim do Rio de Janeiro para assistir sua luta aqui amanhã, mas infelizmente a luta foi adiada. Vanderlei, um prazer também estar aqui com você. Minha pergunta é para o Lyoto, essa diferença de estilos entre karatê e o wrestling, você tem alguma vantagem em cima do Chris Weidman sobre isso? Isso vai ser a sua tática. E queria aproveitar também de pedir uma foto para o Vanderlei e para o Lyoto também, por favor.
A question for Lyoto, speaking on the difference of styles between karate and wrestling, what's the advantage of karate over a wrestler?
Eu acredito assim que, como é uma luta de MMA, né, quem conseguir tirar o melhor proveito disso tudo, ou o wrestling do Chris Weidman, ou a minha luta em pé, o meu karatê, e tudo vai ter uma vantagem sobre isso, entendeu? Então é muito difícil você prever uma luta dessa, é muito difícil, porque tudo pode acontecer. O Chris Weidman é um cara que já mostrou que luta em pé também, né, que já nocauteou, luta no chão, já finalizou. Então, como uma luta de MMA, eu não posso prever nenhuma situação dessa.
It's an MMA fight, so it comes down to whoever can use your discipline better in the fight. And he's shown that he can fight on his feet. He can have submissions on the ground, so anything can happen in MMA.
Ok, obrigado. Vamos estar torcendo para você lá no Rio de Janeiro. E Vanderlei, estamos juntos também com você.
Obrigado.
Puder tirar uma foto com vocês, eu agradeço.
Com certeza.
All right, last 2 questions.
Hi guys, how are you? My son, this question is to Dana. My son went to your event in Brisbane, Australia, December the 7th, and he said it was the best event he's ever been to in his life. And I'm just asking a question. You were going to Melbourne, Australia, but I read about that in the Melbourne Sun. But my question is is there any plans coming back to Australia in the near future?
Yeah, absolutely. Australia is an amazing market for us, and yeah, we're working on the issues there just like we are in New York. But the answer is yes. That's a huge market for us. We're very dedicated. You know, we're going to New Zealand coming up soon here. The answer is yes. That fight was Mark Hunt and Bigfoot Silva, wasn't it?
He said, yeah.
Yeah, that fight was, that was a treat. That was a good one.
He said that there was just, the atmosphere was fantastic, but they say it's better in Las Vegas, but the Aussies aren't too bad, are they?
No, not at all.
Aussie!
That's awesome.
Thank you very much.
All right, buddy. We'll be back.
Thank you very much.
Tell your son thanks.
Hi, Ron.
Uh-oh, Pat Barry. That was the last question, but here we go. I have an idea. This isn't going to be good. What could you possibly want to ask?
I was just wondering. I'm sorry for being late. I was just sorry, everybody, for keeping this going. I was just wondering. I never got a phone call from Brock Lesnar, and he's my friend, saying that he asked you to convince me to retire. But I was just wondering if that phone call ever really happened, because I didn't get the text message yet.
Yeah, I didn't call you either.
You know, just wondering. Everybody's like, because I didn't hear from him, and I called him, and he hasn't answered yet. So, Brock, answer your phone.
Brock loves you. Have a great day. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming. We appreciate it. We're going to get this stuff out of here for photo ops and stick around for the weigh-ins.
Just don't eat like if you don't eat Hawaiian food, you're good.
All right, I'll yell. So Frankie Edgar's wife is having a baby right now. That's why he's not here. Yeah. So BJ's by himself. There's no stare down for BJ. I can
Sai!